Hello and welcome to Platypus Scotsman. Glad you could join me. One thing about this video is I've had some requests about how to make the koi fish because it's at the end of the credits in the montage of different things I've done in the past, and one of them happens to be some ponds that have some koi fish in them. So I've had some requests and that's why I'm doing this. But real quick, if you want to see progress pictures and other things and sometimes sneak peeks, we have an Instagram account called Platypus Scotsman if you want to go check that out. There'll be stories on there. But anyway, let's go. So this is the basic material I'm going to use, just 1/16 styrene rod from Evergreen Scale Models, and then 1/8 rod, salt, make sure they're solid, from Evergreen, then an emery board, and a really thin sheet styrene, I mean really thin. I can't remember the thickness on it. If you don't have the rods though, you can use round sprues. You can use the square ones too. It just makes it a little bit more difficult to do, but you can still do that. And then just a X-Acto knife, lighter, and a candle. When you play with fire, parental supervision, it can be dangerous and you can also burn yourself. And what I want to do is I just want to get the end of this styrene warm so I can bend it. I don't want it to melt, and I want it to bend ever so slightly. So just a curve like that in it is good. Excuse me, is good. Just kind of give that fish look. And then that's all I'm going to use that for. Blow out the candle, sniff the smoke if you're into that, but don't really do that. So when you look at a koi from the top, kind of have, there a lot of them in motion. The straight ones don't look that great, but kind of have it look like it's in motion. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to start slightly trimming the head. Well, I might actually file it because then there's more control. And I'm really just getting it to look good from the top. It's nice if you have a picture of a koi for reference. When I file this, I kind of just want the outside more curved than the inside. I don't know why. Just that's what I man, got a frog in my throat or something. Anyway, I just like the outside curve more, and then just also obviously do the inside too. But because when you put it in water, or when you put it in the whatever medium you choose to use for the water effects, really they're only going to be able to see the top generally. So you do want the front sloped. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim the back. I'm going to kind of see how long I want this part of it, probably right about there. Like I said, what I'm going to do on the outside still is I'm going to just trim this part right here, narrow it, get it narrowed down some more, trim that right there without stabbing my finger. Trim this a little bit. And then there's the kind of shape of my fish. And I want to smooth this backside off. If you're using a sprue, I'd be able to have a handle right here, so it'd be way easier. But I just kind of want to show this way too. And then I'm going to trim the tail section down, narrow it. That way it kind of has that bow of a fish on the back. I'm going to get my weld on number 3 that I've used in other tutorials and hold the fish like so. I'm going to dip the end of the rod in there, and then I'm going to attach it to the bottom. Now that the fish is relatively dry, this is the kind of part where it's a little bit tricky and it's probably going to be a little bit difficult to show on camera. But what I'm going to do now is I want to have the side fins, the top fin, and well, the dorsal fin, whatever the technical term is for it, and then the back fin. Just gonna kind of shape it a little bit before I want to glue it on. I want to round the corners a little bit on the back before I actually attach it. I want to just kind of bend it just a little bit just so it continues the curve of the fish. Get that bent. Get my weld on number 3. Try not to drop the fin in the back. Make sure I have it the way I want. Get that. It's going to dip the end in ever so slightly or a lot if you make a mistake. So now I've trimmed the side fins, like pectoral fins, I don't know what they're called. Anyway, better tighten my blade. I'm just going to stab it so I can kind of get it better angle on it. Dip the end of it in there, and then kind of put it like that. The only problem is doing it this way through the blade. Sometimes your blade doesn't want to let go, and then you have screw-ups like this. Then you have something that looks like that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for them to dry for a few minutes. Then I'm going to run the brush along them, and then I'm going to let it dry for a little bit longer. And then I'm going to go back with the file and kind of file it down. So this is Evil Sun Scarlet. I'm going to paint the orange first, even though white might be more prominent on this. I just want to paint the orange first, because then I can do the highlights with the orange, and then wherever I put the white, the red will have the highlights or the gradient that I desire. This is Troll Slayer Orange. Someday I'll use a wet palette. And here I'm just going to go along the body. I don't want to go near the fins. Just going to create a highlight. Like I said, when this is all said and done, you're going to have lacquer over this, or whatever medium you use, so it's not going to really be overly prominent unless you don't ruffle the top, don't make waves in the top of your water effect. Then it might be a little bit more visible. If I was having something where it was like a diorama or some type of vignette or something that was coming in from the side, I might spend a little bit more time on the fish if I thought it was going to be more visible. But in this case, it would be coming from the top, so I'm not really concerned. Last color is Fire Dragon Bright. Yeah. I'm just going to highlight the edges, more or less. I'm going to come back with white and just make spots on it. Well, there you have it. That's the fish. It's pretty straightforward, nothing really fancy to it. You can use tube styrene or you can use sprues. Either one works well. If you have any questions or comments, put them down below. I'll be more than happy to answer them. And hopefully my tutorials are worth a sub. Hopefully I'm earning your sub. If not this time, maybe my next tutorial will earn your sub. Like I've said before, we have an Instagram account, but we also have a Facebook account, Platypus Scotsman. We have a group called Platypus Scotsman Lounge. And I've had some personal requests for Facebook friends. I have a separate account that's not my personal account, but another account called Platypus Scotsman. That's the account. If you want to friend that account, you're more than happy to do that one, but that's the one that I use for that. Now I'm kind of rambling, but anyway, that's the one. Well, I hope you enjoyed this and hope you got something out of it. You have a wonderful night. Hope everything's going well in your hobbies. Remember what my mother used to always say, that everyone can do art, but most importantly, spend time with your family, friends, comments. Let them know you care. Maybe if you like to hug them, give them a hug. And have fun in your hobby. Anyway, ciao. Later. See ya. Bye.